and welcome back to the Cabbage Patch. I'm Dad.
I'm Tommy.
And I'm Gus.
And today, what did we play today?
Flashpoint. The game where I died every time I play it.
Flashpoint Fire Rescue. It's a board game about fighting fires and saving people inside a burning house, right?
Mm-hmm. But we didn't really do much firefighting. We just kind of saved the people.
Yeah, so it's for 2 to 6 players, ages 10 and above. It says it plays about 45 minutes, which actually, now that we know how to play it, it did.
And
right?
that person died, and that person only.
Yes. So
was it actually? Oh yeah, it was.
yeah, there was one person left there. So this is a game where we use. There's no you roll dice. The only time you roll dice is to figure out where the fire goes. Otherwise, you're moving with action points, right? So each firefighter gets what? 4 action points, right? And an action point can be you move your firefighter 1 space. It can be move through a piece of fire, and that's 2 action points. It can be move with a victim.
That's 2 action points.
That's 2 action points. So if you're carrying somebody out of the building, that's 2 action points. Open or close a door. Actually fight the fire. You can extinguish smoke. So you can take these smoke counters, right? So the board, as the fire progresses, the board starts off with smoke, and in some cases fire tokens. And in order to turn a piece of fire into smoke, you spend 1 action. In order to completely extinguish it, you spend 2 actions. So it's about
unless it's just smoke.
Managing how many action points you have. You don't have to spend all your action points the whole time, right?
Yeah.
You can bank some for the next turn. So if you only have enough to do something, then you can bank some of your action points, and you bank your action points with these little tiles here. So if you only spend 3 action points by moving once and putting out a piece of fire, and then you don't want to move again, then you take one of these and you bank it. And you're meant to sort of keep track of those so that you can do more and more things as the game goes on. You can also spend 2 action points and chop through a wall. All right, so if you look at the board here, this is the board. The house fell down, right? We did not win. We almost won. Actually, we may have won because we forgot something, but we'll get to that in a second.
We forgot this.
So you spend 2 action points to chop through a wall in order to get somewhere,
Did we also
right?
get this one?
No, I don't think so. That was over here. So you win by rescuing 7
At least.
people. People who cats or dogs, right? And the people start off as you don't know if they're people or not, right? And they start off in places throughout the board. And every once in a while, you turn that over and there's not a person there. So you can fight your way all the way into the house, turn over the token, and it's not actually a person to rescue, right?
Correct.
But cats and dogs and people count the same for victory. The way you lose is if you lose, I think it's 4 people, or all these little black cubes are damage cubes. And damage happens to buildings when you chop through a wall with an axe, right? Or when an explosion happens inside the building. And an explosion happens when you roll the fire and it ends up in the same space, and then it goes out from there. So there's a couple of things that I think are interesting about the mechanics. Any one turn is we take actions, then we advance the fire. And we advance the fire how?
We roll.
Roll those dice.
And see if there's and look at the coordinates.
Right. So we roll and look at the coordinates, and there's an 8-sided die and a 6-sided die in there, and that's a 3 and a 4. And on the map, there's the 8-sided die across the top and the 6-sided die across down the side, and we do 4 and 3. So if you roll to advance the fire and it's somewhere where the fire is already at, what happens?
It explodes.
It explodes, which sends fire out in all directions.
And if you're right next to the
From the
exploding
map.
fire, you die. Kind of.
Kind of. So when an explosion happens, that means the fire travels all the way to the walls and then damages the walls, which is where these little black counters come in, right? So as soon as you damage a wall, you put a little black counter on that wall, right? And if there are 2 black counters on any wall piece, that counts as an open doorway. Just like there are doors there, and if it blows through a door, that means that there's nothing blocking the fire, right? So you can go into a building, open doors, close doors, just like you would as a real firefighter, right? You want to close doors behind you.
Or if you're just living your life and there happens to be a door.
Right. But if you close a door, if you're in a fire, you want to keep that door closed. You don't want to open it. As soon as you open the door, the fire can spread into your room, right? Right. So it works exactly like it's supposed to work in quote unquote real life. So you lose when you exhaust all of these little black damage tokens, and I think there's 25 or 30 of them. I'm not sure how many there are, but there's a fair number of them, and that's part of the losing condition. The other is I think you lose if you lose 4 victims to the fire if they're killed by an explosion,
or if the fire just spreads out.
If the fire just spreads over top of them, right? Then they get put down here.
And it's kind of funny that they don't even move.
They don't move.
Even if the fire's just like right next to them.
They're stuck in the house waiting for the firefighters to come and rescue them.
Or
so
just the fire to slowly eat them.
Yeah. So there's some rules that we forgot. What were they? What was your most important rule to remember?
Not to blame people for something they didn't.
That's not a rule.
That's not a rule.
What happens during an explosion?
Chain reactions.
Chain reactions happen. The fire keeps spreading. Another rule to remember is what? If there's fire next to a smoke, what happens?
The smoke eventually turns into fire.
The smoke turns into fire, right? If you're standing next to an explosion, what happens?
You get sent to the medical van.
You get sent back out to the medical van, right? What about you, Gus? What's a rule that you didn't remember? We literally just talked about this.
I don't know that I have one.
You don't know that you have one. How about you can only move 4 spaces or do 4 actions? And even if you only have 1 more space to go, that doesn't mean that you can move that space if you don't have enough action points. Does that sound good? All right. The thing that I couldn't keep track of, and we had to look up a couple times while we were playing, is what did happen with an explosion. Like, I know it damages walls, but if there's no wall there, does it just go to the next square? Does it go all the way through until there is another wall? And I think it actually goes all the way through until it hits another wall. I think that's the way it's supposed to work, but we'll look that up again. Managing the dynamics of the fire is challenging. So if you can see our board, it's covered
in fire.
And
so black damage markers.
We were not terribly good firefighters, were we?
We were more rescue operatives.
You guys were more rescue operatives.
So
at one point I was in the middle of this big conflagration here trying to fight the fire.
And then you exploded.
And then it exploded and sent me outside.
So
I think it might...
We weren't really the right people for the job.
You weren't the right people for the job, I think is the short answer, yeah. I think it might play better if there's more of us, right? So this is 3 to 6 players, I think. If there were 1 or 2 more firefighters, 1 or 2 of us could be going to fight the fire, while the other 2 could be going to rescue the people. As opposed to just rescuing the people as soon as they possibly can, when that may not be the right answer, right? Because if you want to fight the fire.
Breaking a wall, which may or may not have ultimately cost us.
Breaking a wall that may or may not have cost us the game.
It didn't.
So,
if this piece didn't exist, we would have lost.
Right. So we think we lost track of one of our damage tokens, so we may have ended the game a little early, and then we would have won. As it turns out, we didn't see this, and we probably didn't win.
Or retconning it to make sure that, or retconning it to make it that
we'll pretend that we won. I like the game. We've played this a couple of times. This is one of the first new board games that I bought 2 years ago when I started remembering how much fun board games were. Did you like it? Gus?
Yes.
What's your favorite part of the game?
lot of things I liked about the game.
Okay, name one.
The fact that there can just be like a lamp that looks like a human.
You think the false
It's a
rescues
firefighter.
are your favorite? What didn't you like about the game?
The fact that the fact that these exist.
The damage markers. How about you? What's your favorite part of the game?
I really like the models.
The models are really cool. The models are really detailed.
And I also really like the box art because it just showed, I really like the gas mask part of
The
it.
box art looks really good. We didn't play any of the advanced parts of the game. We just
Because-
played the basic game. The advanced parts of the game add characters that have more or fewer action points and possibly special abilities. And there's also you can add ambulances and other things outside the building.
Like fire trucks.
It's not fire trucks. At least I'm not sure it is. It might be. And then there's all sorts of additional things that you can do to make the game more complicated. But I think it's complicated enough. I think the several times that we played it, we've won twice and lost all the rest. And we're going to call this a tie.
Yeah.
All right. What didn't you like about the game?
Explosions.
Explosions suck.
If RNG Jesus doesn't like you, you would end up with explosion after explosion.
Explosion after explosion after explosion, which takes the whole house down, right? So when you run out of these damage markers, that's what happens. The house falls down and kills everybody inside, hostages or not hostages, victims and firefighters alike. I like.
Even though if the firefighters explode, they don't die.
They don't die. They get sent back outside. I like everything about the game. Actually, I think the game is simple enough to play. We were able to knock it out in about 45 minutes. It's got good components, good pieces. I love the damage mechanic, even though we didn't quite remember how it worked. I like the fact that it turns smoke into fire, and the fire moves in a way that's very similar to the way I understand fire to move through a burning house. Years ago, I helped make a video game that was sort of like this, that was a fire simulator, so this is near and dear to my heart. It's very cool. And I like playing it because it feels like we've made some accomplishment when we rescue the people. All right, well, I think it's time to give it a grade. Gus, how many cabbages?
2.
2? Tommy, how many cabbages?
3.
3? Really?
It's a great game.
It's a great game. So I don't think I'm going to give it 3 because I like playing it. So that is 8 cabbages. Now this might sound skewed because I think what we're doing is we're picking our favorite games to play to review in these first episodes. But 8 cabbages feels like a solid game. It's a lot of fun, and it's accessible for younger kids and older kids and even older kids. So 8 cabbages.
You're not a kid.
No.
Yeah, well, sometimes I'm a kid. All right, so we give it 8 cabbages. We'll play it again because we like it. And that's it, right?
Yeah.
Want to do the outro?
Subscribe, like, hit that bell. Tommy,
Leave a comment if you wish.
eat plenty of cabbages.
Not us though.
On that note, thanks again. This is our 18th episode, so
Thank you for
And
watching.
it got a fitting 8 cabbages.
it got a fitting 8 cabbages. We ended on a high note. All right, thanks a lot.
See you later.